I don't know. I'm trying to remember the last time that an interview revealed as much as Rachel Maddow's interview last night revealed, and actually moved a story of national and international significance as much as that interview did. It was breathtaking what was revealed in the interview. And you could see, Willie, even Devin Nunes, everybody knew that he was lying, that he was being a liar when he said he didn't know who Lev was. And even last night, I think it was, he had to go out and admit, oh, yes, I do remember now. They all know him. Yep. They've all had their pictures with him. Apparently, the Vice President of the United States caught lying. The President caught lying. The Attorney General, all of them caught lying. And my only thought was, I mean, and this is, I just want to say to politicians out there, this is why it's important to have an inner voice where you can tune everybody out. Nancy Pelosi holding up the articles of impeachment for as long as she did has revealed so much in that time when Republicans were trying, and right-wing Trumpists were trying to pressure her and saying, oh, this is the worst thing ever. Even Democrats last week started whining about, oh, she needs to send him over here. No, I mean, if I have any criticism of Nancy, I think she should have held him a couple of more weeks, because the space that she has created, we didn't even know John Bolton was going to testify until Nancy Pelosi gave this process time to breathe. Of course, they wanted to get the articles of impeachment, Willie, because they wanted to kill them. They wanted to club them like baby seals and get rid of them immediately, wipe them to the side, and move on and pretend this never happened. Well, this happened, and last night was yet another explosion.
The position that the Republicans in the Senate have taken that there won't be new witnesses is completely untenable after you listen to that interview with Lev Parnas. It was already untenable because John Bolton wants to testify and other key witnesses, if you're actually interested in finding out what happened and finding the truth, which apparently they're not. Lev Parnas laid out chapter and verse what happened. And you'd be right to have a little skepticism about Lev Parnas because of who he is and the way he's operated. But most of what he said last night to Rachel Maddow, and I agree with you, it was an extraordinary interview. Rachel was eminently prepared, was ready for every twist and turn that he brought her on, is confirmed by testimony and documents that we've seen and heard over the last couple of years, in the last couple of months through the impeachment hearing. So on his own, you might go, wait a minute, this guy's a shady figure, except for the fact that most of what he said last night has already been confirmed by other witnesses and by documents.
Well, and isn't it something, you go back to what the whistleblower said, and of course Republicans are still saying that they want the whistleblower to, why? The whistleblower basically said Donald Trump had a bad haircut. I mean, it was nothing compared with what we have learned since then. Everything's been confirmed, plus, and it puts the Republicans in a terrible position. And my gosh, Susan Collins, how embarrassing. I actually was embarrassed for her that she would humiliate herself so much to say, oh, we don't need any more witnesses. Well, and if the House had been doing their job, they would have gotten this information. It just came out. Now, I don't think Susan Collins is stupid, so she just must be acting in supreme bad faith. And if she thinks the people of Maine are going to reelect her, acting like that, it's shocking. Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.